Good evening. In compliance with Chapter 551, Open Meetings of the Texas Government Code, I call to order a regular voting meeting of the Board of Trustees of the Austin Independent School District for Thursday, March 26, 2026 at 6:06 p.m. A quorum of the board is physically present at Austin ISD Central Office to conduct this meeting. This meeting is being broadcast on cable channel 22 through Spectrum, Astound Broadband, and on channel 99 through AT&T Uverse. Closed captioning in English is available on those platforms for individuals who are deaf or hard of hearing. Welcome and thank you for joining us. We'll begin with public testimony for items on our consent agenda and public comment. Members of the public wishing to participate in the public testimony portion of our meeting called a dedicated Austin ISD phone line in advance of the meeting to sign up to speak in person or audio record their remarks. This is an opportunity for the board to take part in listening to our community. While we wish we could respond to each topic raised, the Texas Open Meetings Act does not authorize the board to engage in deliberation or take action on comments or complaints from members of the public if the subject is not on the meeting agenda. For comments related to posted agenda items, we will engage in any deliberations or ask follow-up questions during the presentation of that item on the agenda. Tonight, we have 3 people who signed up to speak in person. We have 2 who left a recorded message. We will begin with our in-person testimony to provide as many opportunities for input as possible within a limited time period. Each speaker will be allotted 1 minute. No substitutions or yielding of time to others is permitted. Callers who signed up to speak in person are invited to come to the microphone when your name is called. As you come to the microphone, please press the button to turn it on. When the buzzer sounds, please make a final thought in 1 sentence. And whether you come to give complaint or praise, please reference any staff member by position or abbreviated last name. And we ask that all audience members, whether speaking or not, please show respect for all their others at all times. Our 3 in-person speakers tonight are Carol Frederick, Mary Castle, and Jonathan Covey.
Good evening. I'm Carol Frederick. For months, I've been giving you reasons to put Good Friday back on the calendar, but no. Last week, you were given a perfect opportunity to cancel Cesar Chavez Day and give us Good Friday instead, but again, no. Good Friday is vital because God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten Son, who left heaven, everything he had there, to come here to rescue all of sinful mankind. He wrapped himself in flesh, lived a perfect life to show his perfect love, was beaten, tortured, and nailed to a cross where he died on a Friday to provide complete forgiveness of our sin and to secure eternal life in God's presence to whoever believe in him. Your refusal to acknowledge Good Friday shows total disdain for Jesus' sacrifice and the hundreds of thousands of Christians in this district who honor him on that day. It's still not too late to do the right thing. Thank you.
Good evening, Superintendent Segura and members of the Austin ISD Board of Trustees. My name is Mary Elizabeth Castle, and I ask that when you consider changes to the school calendar tonight, you consider restoring Good Friday. Austin ISD has repeatedly ignored requests from parents and from our organization since last fall to allow students to celebrate the renowned religious holiday of Good Friday. Texas Values has sent multiple letters, including one today, with other Austin citizens and Texas groups asking for religious liberty of students to be respected and not punted for political reasons. Hundreds of school districts in the state of Texas celebrate Good Friday, and some will celebrate both Dolores Wear Today and Good Friday, including Fort Worth ISD. Don't make the bad decision of canceling Good Friday. Thank you.
Good evening, trustees. My name is Jonathan Covey, and I'm the policy director for Texas Values. I'm here commenting because Austin ISD chose not to recognize Good Friday, a central holy day for millions of Christians, on its academic calendar. Many families in this district observe Good Friday as a day of worship and reflection. For them, this is not optional. Yet the district recognizes and highlights other cultural and historical observances throughout the year. When you acknowledge some deeply held beliefs, but exclude one of the most widely observed religious holidays, it sends the message that some beliefs matter more than others. This is about religious freedom. No student should have to choose between honoring their faith and attending school. No family should feel that their beliefs are being sidelined by their own school district. Please restore Good Friday to the calendar. Thank you.
Thank you to our in-person speakers, and we will now play the recorded messages for public testimony. So please listen carefully.
Hi, this is Stephanie Katara, an AISD parent. I would like to request that Good Friday be returned as a holiday this year, as a traditional religious holiday for Christians, and it is usually a holiday where students have off. Thank you.
Good evening. This is Adam Sparks from Maplewood Elementary. Back in February, one of the trustees mentioned the importance of having some clarity regarding future school closures for the registration process, especially for pre-K and kindergarten students. The superintendent had indicated that he would be giving an update soon. It was expected perhaps by the end of the February, and we were just trying to get some clarity. Yesterday, I found out my next-door neighbors were pulling their children out of Maplewood because of the uncertainty. And so, again, the exodus of students from the district continues. If there's any certainty towards what the school closures process will look like in the future, it is imperative for the enrollment of our school to try and make that decision now. Thank you so much for considering this.
Thank you to everyone who shared testimony. This concludes our public testimony for tonight. As a reminder, please feel free to share any additional comments or questions with the board by email at trustees@austinisd.org. And trustees, if there are any questions or comments regarding non-agenda topics raised in public comment tonight, you're welcome to share them now, knowing that the district is limited to providing basic factual information in response to questions or needed clarification, identifying existing Austin ISD policies and resources for reference, or noting a topic for follow-up or inclusion on a future meeting agenda. Any questions or comments?
I just have a question for the superintendent, real short and sweet, quick questions that some the callers and in-person individuals have asked about. I just want to be sure that this is not happening, that Austin ISD is not preventing anyone from worshiping any holiday that they choose. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And Good Friday is on the 26-27 calendar? Yes. Awesome, great. Thank you so much. So much to celebrate. Thank you.
Thank you. Any additional clarifications? All right, thank you all so much. Our next item is committee reports. We've posted written committee reports as an attachment to this item on our board docs agenda. You can find that online. It includes committee reports from the Board Policy Committee and the Austin Ed Fund. And the next item is our superintendent's report.
All right, I'd like to welcome up G.A. Kimbatra and Katrina Montgomery. Today, very briefly and succinctly, we'll be covering transition plan update and our budget update. So if we could pull up the slide, we'll go ahead and get going. So one of the things that is incredibly important to us as an organization as we move through the transitions of schools that were consolidated is making sure that we commit to meeting the expectations of our community, doing so in a transparent way, getting community voice and family voice into the process, and making sure that we do the work with fidelity so that our families and students have a successful launch to the 26-27 school year. And so I believe it'll be coming up here momentarily. At least I hope that it is. So one thing that I wanted to share was just our transition system support. I've shared this slide before, so it's probably not absolutely necessary that it comes up at this second. Should I wait a second?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
All right.
For some reason, it's not connected.
Apologies. We'll give it 1 second. HDMI cables probably. Yep. All right, perfect. So I've shared this presentation, this slide before, but I think it's important for our community, our board, and our families to understand the intentionality around the work. This here is just a reminder of the project team that's been assembled, the steering committee and the representation on it, the types of meetings that we have as we move through the process, but also communicating out that we regularly meet with different advisory committees to ensure that there's alignment and we're able to get that feedback and make adjustments accordingly. On the next slide, you'll see our roadmap that was presented some time ago, in which you can see here with the green check marks are our milestones that we've hit along the way. You can see here in March, we're providing an update regarding the work that's been done, and I'm happy to say that there's been a lot of effort, a lot of kind of tailoring our strategies, and we are very much on track to ensure that our families are supported to the best of our abilities as we start the 26-27 school year. So with that, I'll hand it over to GA to take us through the remainder of the presentation.
Good evening, Board of Trustees and Superintendent Segura. We have come a long way. It's been a great deal of work, and I am proud to say that our district transition team has been just taking it off and really individualizing and differentiating campus support. We have assigned them to different clusters of campus principals so that we can differentiate the support that they need, and we've realized that every campus is very unique, and all the needs are very different. So since January 19th, since we have our people on board, we've had 50 different check-ins and site visits just to provide individualized support, and that's going to continue. And we've since then also collaborated with ACPTA to create some guiding documents for our campus principals and leaders to so that we can guide our principals in leading joint meetings for CAC and also PTA joint meetings, and they are available to all of our school leaders. And we've done some work. We know that after-school programs are so important for our families, and there have been some programs that are a little more sensitive to the needs of our students at different campuses than others. And so we've worked with our student support services team and also transportation team to be able to have some smooth transition from a campus that is closing to the ones that they're receiving. We've also provided 2 different options for our campus principals to consider to provide professional learning opportunities for our campuses as a whole. First one was created and proposed by Stacia Pascal. And second one was created by Crystal Kohlhoff by our MTSS team. And they serve 2 different purposes. The first one is really to process and reflect our feelings and going forward. And then the second one would be to bring the communities together to do team buildings and vision creating and moving forth. We've also been in a lot of collaborative meetings with our operations folks, because the move is coming up and that is on the minds of our staff members, and there are lots of questions about it, just the logistics of moving campuses and, and also the instructional materials and such. So we've worked very hard with our academics team, schools team, IT, transportation, operations to be able to come up with some timeline and also guideline. We do have some guidance documents along with the campus checklist being undertaken. It is in the process of being created, and it should be finalized sometime next week for us to be able to push that out. So one of the biggest tasks that we had to tackle the last month was to coordinate and execute campus walkthroughs. And so we prioritize the receiving campuses, and all these walkthroughs have involved the district transition team member, the campus principal, operations folks, and in some cases we invited IT folks, CTE folks, special education folks, so that we can walk the building together to be able to assess what needs there are so that our campuses are ready to receive our students in August. And so we've completed quite a bit, and we still do have upcoming walkthroughs. And as you can see, a lot of the upcoming ones are the ones that are closing or the impact is minimal, but they are being scheduled. I'm very excited to highlight some of the Austin Ed Fund projects to really highlight legacy and honor our school communities. And it is being driven by our campus principals and also the community members. And then our students are on their way to complete these projects. And so there had been 19 submissions to ask for support to Austin Ed Fund. And then I have listed some of the projects that have been approved by Austin Ed Fund. And the pictures that you see, the ones on the left side, are from Wynn Montessori. And then the ones on the right side are from Betachek Middle School. And the Betachek Middle School one is really, really cool. Our students are creating 3 separate murals, and each mural panel is going to go to the 3 campuses that our kids will be transitioning to. So we're really, really proud, and there are so many more projects coming, you guys. I'm really excited to share them with pictures in the upcoming month to celebrate our communities. So going forward with the enrollment update. Oh, I don't know what happened with the number. There we go. This is specific to the transition enrollment round. So we've had, I have the numbers. So we've had 3,374 submissions of the surveys. Actually, no. It's the 3,374 students were impacted, and of those, 1,850 students completed the transition enrollment survey. Of those, 92% received their first choice offer, and overall, between first and second choice, 97% of our people that have filled out the survey received their first or second choice offer. And of the families that have filled out the transition survey, 61% are fully registered or in progress, and then the rest of them, we have a plan to reach out between enrollment office and also school's office. We have an action plan to reach out to the 39% who have not engaged in the enrollment process. Here are some of the upcoming enrollment opportunities. We have about 611 campus tours scheduled in the spring, and you can read the numbers up there. And we also are pairing that with the district enrollment as another layer of support. We have also made it available for our public to be able to sort out enrollment events that are happening all across the school district. And it is available for our parents to be able to see what's coming ahead. For staffing transition, our internal transfer window opened this past Monday, and I know that our talent strategy team is working very hard to be able to provide placements and positions for all of them with the deadline of April 10th. And of the campus staff members that are impacted, 68% of our staff members have secured positions as of March 23rd. And that leaves 397 folks that we still need to find homes for. And of the 1396 staff members that were impacted, 51 staff members have so far resigned or announced their retirement.
Yeah, and just for a quick clarification, 397 are pending positions.
Oh, that's correct.
They're not finding a home. They have a home. We're in the process of getting that through for final approval.
Yes. And once we take care of all of our impacted staff members, we still project that we have about 300 vacancies left, which means we're going to be able to go out on the 11th of April when we do our job fair for external candidates. And it is really, it's noteworthy to highlight that we usually have about 700 vacancies when we go to the job fair, but based on what we're projecting, we only have 300 vacancies to fill. Great celebration. We've talked about transition booklet, and in the past, and it's become a working document. We really wanted to push it out early, but as we're continuing in our collaboration, multi-cross departments, we're finding out that there are things that we need to fine tune, but it should be available. Version 1, we're gonna push out version 1 early next week, and then we're gonna go ahead and refine them as we go to add more to it, so it becomes our playbook. So lessons learned to date, I've learned as a lead that collaboration is key. I knew that it was going to require lots of cross-department, multi-department collaboration. And I really have to thank all of our department heads to be able to meet with us every week to tackle problems and come to solutions together. And so that our transition is smooth for our students and families. And so that's been a key learning for me. And then providing differentiated support for every unique school community has been very important. I knew that it was going to be differentiated, but I didn't know to what degree it had to be differentiated. And having our district transition team members being assigned to different clusters of campuses and being able to respond to campus principals as the needs came in, it has been very helpful to be able to provide that differentiated support. And I also learned that maximizing the support from our partner is also important. You've heard me say that we've partnered with Austin Ed Fund, ACPTA, and now City of Austin, Austin Public Library. They're reaching out to do some legacy projects with our schools, and so we're excited to embark on that. And lastly, I think for me, is always happy to assist and support mindset so that we can remove barriers for our campus leaders so that they can keep the main thing. The main thing has been the most important thing, because to me, our students are still in the building. The most important thing is that we provide a world-class education while our students are in the building. So for us, our team has been in the mindset of, let us take care of all the barriers so that you can go focus on the main things. So that's it.
All right, thank you. And now we'll transition to Katrina Montgomery to provide the budget update.
Hello, President Boswell and Superintendent Segura. This first slide, thank you. This first slide is going to be our board balance policy. We've seen this. What we're focusing on this year is 25-26. The board approved the policy to have our fund balance go to 15%, and then our actual target for this year will be 15%. So the next slide, this slide here talks about the use of our fund balance and financial reporting. The unassigned fund balance is the only flexible portion available for you. So if you look at this chart that we have here, the total projected ending of our fund balance is of $182 million, but you can see it's separated into 3 sections. The largest section is $140 million is unassigned fund balance. You have $4 million of assigned fund balance and a restricted of $37 million. So the restricted and the assigned fund balance just means that these are balances that we cannot use. They've already been predetermined. And on the next slide, this is our FY 25-26 projections. In the second column, you have the adopted budget. This is where we have the adjusted net change or the deficit of $19 million. And then the FY 25-26, our projections, this is all still the same, showing that our adjusted net fund balance or our deficit will be $49 million. What's new to this slide is that you'll see we've specifically written out all of the variances, whether it's between revenue and recapture. Our revenue decreased $54 million. Our recapture decreased $56 million. We have operating expenditures that increased. Pending property monetization. I wanted to call this out because we've talked about this section before, where we originally had 2 properties that we were going to monetize for a total of $45 million. And now this year we're going to only have 1 for $17 million. So that's a $28 million swing that is going to be something that we have to cover in this next fiscal year. Next slide. So budgeted projections, reductions, and savings. So this is a slide that we created so we can kind of start itemizing for the board and for our community to see what are we going to do for the rest of through June of 2026. So we have estimated revenue, additional revenue of $2 million, a reduction in special education contracts of approximately $2 million. For March through June of 2026, we're going to put in stronger spending controls for a total of $34 million. Estimated payroll savings from March through June. That happens also because of our hiring freeze for $12 million. And then there's a property value or hold harmless adjustment, which we'll talk about on the next slide, for a change that was made by TEA for $4 million. And the total of all these reductions and strategies equals $54 million. We have to reduce to get to the 15.1%, $70 million. We have strategies for 54. So then there's a balance here that we still need to have strategies for, totaling $16 million. The one thing that I want to bring out here is we've talked about how our revenue decreased, how our operating expenditures increased, but one of the big pieces is having the property sale moved to the next fiscal year. That is also one of the big swings for $28 million. So if that $28 million came in, this difference here, this $16 million that we still have to cover, would be no longer in existence. So there's some remaining strategies to the right to collapse some vacancy positions and then to reduce overtime. Next slide. So the $4 million that we talked about on the previous slide is property tax data and hold harmless. What happened? Texas Education Agency identified issues in property tax data impacting the current year 25-26 Statement of Finance funding. This was a technical correction, not a policy change, intended to ensure districts receive accurate hold harmless funding. And so our number is an estimated additional $4 million. Even though this is a small amount, there were some districts who ended up owing tens of millions of dollars because of this change. So even though this is $4 million for Austin, this is definitely something that's going to help us contribute to our current year deficit. Next slide. And this next slide we have here is budget strategy considerations. We wanted to show this slide because we wanted you to know that we're doing the work. We had 70+ strategies this year, and in FY 25-26, yes was given to 13 of the strategies, which total $5.5 million, and then $16.9 million is the $17 million that you remember from the property sale. So we just wanted to have this slide so everyone's clear that we are doing the work. We still have work to do, but we are working. Thank you. And so then we have here engagements and upcoming opportunities. We want to do this slide every single time, every place that we present, because we want the community to know that this is how you can see us and get your feedback. So this Saturday, March 28th, from the 11 to 12, we have a virtual session. And then we've added an ad hoc meeting on April 6th from 6 to 7. It'll be in person here at the district. Thank you, and I'm available for any questions.
Thank you very much. Trustees, we have, based on the time we have left, we have 22 minutes budgeted for questions that will keep us at the 50% level of student outcomes for the 3-month quarter. We have 22 minutes for questions, and if we choose to do more than that, we have that option. Thank you.
So can we go back to slide 9? And I realized that we did kind of 2 presentations back to back, probably to make sure that we actually had time to pay attention to all of it. But getting back to the first presentation, I really appreciate the district's dedicated attention to transitions and the transition plans as something that needs specific and differentiated attention, and then actually staffing that up. I think it's bearing fruit. But part of the fruit is the data, and I hear us making sure to serve impacted students, serve impacted staff, and all as part of sort of serving whole communities. Excited to see the placement rates of those who had sort of those parents and families that have done the paperwork, so to speak, and that the placements are working out. People are getting their first choices. But the question that arises for me is the difference between the 3,374 impacted students, I think I heard, and the 1,857 who actually completed the enrollment surveys. So that leaves like 1,500 kids that kind of where are they? And I'd love to hear about that.
Yeah, so Trustee Foster, this is something that we talked about a lot, and one of the things that we're seeing is the reason that families didn't fill out the survey is because their new boundary, they're choosing to go to the school that they are assigned to. For instance, if there's a student at Martin, right, who's now assigned to Keeling, if they decided to go to Keeling, they would not fill out the survey, right? So because the boundaries changed, we sent them a notification, but many of them, we're hearing, just chose to go to the assigned school, which is what we would expect would occur in many of these instances. So that number actually, to me, is not a bad number by any means. When you think about, for instance, Sunset Valley, right? The families that opted to go to Odom as their first choice, and then, with the new boundary being adjusted between Cunningham and Boone, if they lived in that boundary that was now the new Boone or Cunningham, and they were satisfied with that, then there was no need to fill out this survey. So when you think about it at scale, that is a lot of people, lots of students. So they are in our system. We understand, that many of them are choosing to go to the school that they were assigned, but we did inquire and ask them if they wanted a different option. So I don't have a better way to describe that.
No, that is helpful, and I'll just do one follow-up and then just wrap for tonight since we're on the clock, so to speak. I guess what I'm interested in also is there's a cadence and a kind of 1, 2, 3 in terms of who's enrolling when, and in order to make the most meaning of the numbers, maybe a little brief on next steps and how the numbers will become whole and when we'll get a really good picture. And I'm thinking in terms of a public comment we heard tonight where a family member said, apparently my neighbor is not going to be going because there's questions about future transitions on a campus. So that was like a canary in a coal mine to highlight the concern around loss. And so I want to understand how our numbers, how we as trustees can understand the numbers as they're unfolding. Sorry, that was pretty convoluted. I apologize.
I think we are happy to provide you with the specific number, like percentage of students from each closing campuses who have not engaged in the process. We have that data, and we're watching that data to be able to come up with an action plan. But to give you an example, like what Superintendent Segura said, 100% of Woodane is going to Rodriguez. They have the highest percentage of students that have not engaged in the process because I assume that they assume that they're just going to Rodriguez. Does that make sense? But we do have a plan. We have it broken down campus by campus, and we are going to come up with an action plan for engagement.
Okay, so there's a perfect example. Here we have really good confidence, but it's not legible to us yet. And so I guess as the information flows out, we're going to get a fuller and fuller picture.
Yes.
And always as early as possible.
Oh, we're doing it as early as possible, for sure, Trustee Foster. Two things is, we are in constant contact with our principals, right? And our principals are having conversations with their families. So there's a lot that we're getting that we don't get via survey. So that also helps us understand what's truly happening in each of these communities. One of the things that we haven't mentioned yet is we are going to be pulling together a phone bank and going back around and making calls to these families. Our parent support specialists are going to team up with our communications and engagement group and make those 1,300 is not a lot to call. We've done way more, but we're going to be very intentional. So we've done the surveys, we're making the calls, and we will be able to kind of provide more clarity around that. But that gap, or I wouldn't say it's a gap, more clarity around that missing clearly identified data point. But we understand a lot of what's happening in those numbers, but I don't have the specific details of them. But we'll get those soon, especially after we complete the phone bank.
Understood, and thank you.
Thank you. Additional questions?
I just have a couple specific questions around that same slide regarding Becker. So I wanted to understand, again, those numbers look great as far as the percentage of people getting their first or second choice offer. But I'm curious about what their options were. So in particular around Becker, where the initial kind of offer was that they would move fully to Sanchez, but there wasn't necessarily fully space for everyone at Sanchez initially, if everyone had chosen to go. But more importantly, I'm thinking through, did they have the option of applying to dual language at Galindo?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Have the option, So, were there options that weren't on the table for them in the sense of that they got the first choice that they applied for, but it wasn't necessarily their first choice because their first choice wasn't available?
Right.
Does that make sense? I'm just
So,
wondering.
so I have, so let's talk about Becker specifically, since that's what you asked. There are 382 families that completed the survey. That's a pretty substantial number at Becker. Out of those, 296 got their first option. Now, based on where they lived within the Becker attendance boundary, you have the assigned boundary, which could have been Galindo, or it could have been Zilker. Another option could have been Sanchez, right, or Odom, Zilker. I think they could have gone to Zilker if they didn't live in the Zilker attendance boundary, but lived in the Galindo boundary, and then vice versa. If you lived in the Zilker boundary and wanted to go to Galindo, that would also be an option. So we laid out the 4 options available to the school, and then any other option would be just a normal transfer. Like if a family from Becker that was transferring in wanted to go to Casey, that would just be a normal transfer. But in this case, so 296 got their first option. I don't know the breakdown. I can get that. 50 got their second, and then 5 got their third. No one got their fourth, fifth, sixth, or seventh. That didn't exist. So I'd have to think about all the different ways I could communicate that. But generally speaking, based on what we heard from community, because we made adjustments in the offerings based on what we heard during the process. When families said, we want to look at Odom, we made Odom one of the preferred options for the Becker families, right? We did that vice versa also. So is that helpful?
I think it is, yeah. It answers my question. I think the piece I just want to commit to our community to do in this is to be very honest about the warts and the mistakes as we get through the process, so that for the next generation that we have lessons learned. So I want to make sure that we're not overpainting the rosy picture, if that makes sense. So I think this is true, and if this is accurate data, this is amazing, right? That this transfer process is allowing for so many people to get their first choice of their transfer. But not to forget that their first choice was to remain at Becker, and their second choice was to go en masse and remain as a Becker community at another school. But I don't feel that that was an option for them because of the distance of Sanchez, because of the limitations of where the community is. I don't feel like it was a realistic option that they could go as a whole campus, as a whole community to another campus. So in that sense, they didn't get their second choice either. So then their third choice is, well, let's scatter to the wind and find a dual language home for our kids. So I don't think that needs to be included on this slide. I just want to make sure as we're going through that the story doesn't become, this was this highly successful thing that made everyone happy, when really it was, we triaged and managed the pain and the disruption and the hardship for families the best we could. So if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think what we're trying to show as part of this report is, as we made adjustments, because we made lots of adjustments.
We did.
I think if, on options we wanted to make sure our families had, we relaxed, transitions, and we relaxed the way transfers would work, just so that we could accommodate as best we could and provide as many options. You're right. I can't track, I don't know how I would even say that was a first, I don't know how that would come out in the data, right? Because that wasn't an option that was available once the board took the vote, as far as staying at Becker. So, but I can, figure out a way to maybe provide more information for, like, Riley has a different experience, Ridgetop, and each of them have very different, because that would be a different, in many cases, the majority of the population did get a go, right? And if I broke down the first option, we can look and see how many of those are actually one school versus 4 schools, right? So I can go through the analytics and find it. Yeah. There's nothing that's going to be perfect. I want to be very intentional as we went through this disruptive process. And I hope what you're hearing from us is an intentionality and acknowledging that it's going to be painful. It's going to be, it's traumatic for any family to go through something like this, but we're trying to do the best we can to provide options and commit to those options, even if it means having to walk the campuses, which we're doing, and find different ways to make it work. And that's what we're doing. That's what we're committed to do.
Yeah, I understand. I just want authenticity at the end of this, that we kind of acknowledge that we did, as a board, make a decision to close schools that may or may not have been the right decision for each of the options available to us. And so that, this isn't like a hurricane destroyed our schools and now we're finding homes for people. We chose to close schools and now we're finding homes for people. And so just kind of keeping on the table that option 1, was to stay at their same schools. Option 2 was, so just to kind of, so we're not overly rosy in our picture of this, especially for posterity's sake, So that it's not like, oh, Austin was a big success with doing this. Well, we may be a big success in closing schools, but it's not necessarily a joyous outcome, even if it's 92%, 97%. And I'm not just asking about Becker. I'm really, I think other campuses, the same thing. I'm just asking Becker because I know more specifically around some of those options. I don't, again, I'm not asking for new data or different data right now. I'm really just kind of wanting to be a little more sobering about the reality of what are going through.
And as I close this up, I have a table here. I'm not sure if our trustees have it, but I'll be sure to circulate it. I think an unsuccessful process, remember I'm talking about the process, would have been, 40% get first option. I think if that was the case, I think our trustees would be very frustrated with me.
Yeah, no.
And so I think I'm trying to communicate is, we want to be really intentional and thoughtful and execute well, and I think the team is doing that.
Yeah, and I think, again, given what we're trying to accomplish, this is great data. This is great news, and I don't want to take away from that. Given that we're trying to find a new school for people who were displaced from their current school across the city, and that we are able to successfully get 97% into their first or second choice, that's great data. I love that. That's amazing. I don't want to take away from that.
Dr. Kaufman, also just to point out that I want us to remember that we first started with the intent survey, and then based on the feedback that did not meet the audience and the needs. And so we pivoted, we scraped that, and then we went into the enrollment survey because the intent survey did not offer all the options. You're right. And then our transition survey opened it up to all the options for our families. And then that's the data that we're presenting today.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Quintana and then Trustee Hunter.
Thank you for this. I would like to go to slide 7 and just ask more specifically about the upcoming walkthroughs of Martin Middle School and Bedichek Middle School, because in our initial plan, we talked about how we can reimagine those schools as hopefully schools. And so I just want to know how those walkthroughs are going to be different so that we maintain our commitment to our original vote.
Yeah, Trustee Quintana, so those walkthroughs won't be different because we're thinking through how students in the space are moving. The conversation around Bedichek and Martin will occur in the academic visioning process that's now, right? So that we understand the programmatic needs and what we as a district decide that we want to do at these schools and what programs those need to be. So in the time that at the moment we arrive at a recommendation on what those sites will be, what schools will be there, then we will go through a separate process. Because if it's different programming, there's going to be different material, different resources, perhaps different student body. There's a lot, right? So this specific walk is for the transition, and then a future walk will come after the programmatic, the program of the campus or the sites are identified, and that'll be the academic vision work that we started on Tuesday. Is that helpful?
Yes, thank you. And then I wanted to go to slide 9 again. Not to beat a dead horse here, but I did have a parent reach out who was zoned to a school and who tried to register for that school and then was put on a wait list. And they'd been going to school there for years and years. And so I just want to make right, your face, Trustee Hunter, is exactly how I feel inside. And so I just want to make sure that things like that are being caught and being handled swiftly, because these are families who have been in our school district for a long time, and these are exactly the type of families that I would hope that we're hoping to retain in this whole transition process. And it's little things like that that really hurt the trust with our families when we say, like, you can keep going to your neighborhood school even though there are other kids coming, and then when they try to register, they're put on a wait list for the first time ever. So just would love to flag that, and just to keep an eye. I mean, I know there's so much to keep an eye on right now.
No, we're happy to connect with the parent, and Our email address, enrollment@austinaist.org, is still receiving emails about 10, 15 sometimes, and then we're responding to every parent that emails us. So please let us know, and we'll make sure that that is taken care of.
I think I received this specific, and this is during the break, so I talked to Angel, and we've already been tackling the back end. So, but yes, if there are any others, send them our way for sure. We do not want families to not be supported during this process.
Thank you, Trustee Hunter, and then Trustee Singh.
Yes, thank you. So I have a quick question. The first part was the 397. You sort of explained that number. Can you go into more depth about why it's pending, or tell me how that's going to shake out? Because on April 11th, we're having a job fair.
Yeah, so any process that we have when it comes to hiring, it's not done overnight, right? So typically, there's the identification of a match where a principal engages with someone at a career fair that's from one of the campuses that's moving. Usually there will be a phone call, perhaps a couple, and an interview will take place. At that point, they'll submit an RFE to Talent Strategy. Talent Strategy will then process that RFE, and that process can sometimes be quick, sometimes, especially during this time of year when there's lots of hiring, can be several days, if not a week and a half. It just depends. In some cases, though not always in this instance, there can be background checks that have to be followed up. There's things like that. So that's when we talk about pending, what we're talking about is a match has been made. They're in the process, and we expect that to become an individual who moves into the 68%. Like they're already in queue. They have an identified home. We just haven't quite got there because of process.
Okay, perfect.
So that's what that means.
So if we could, in the the board update, if you could just kind of like have a box or something that keeps letting us know where we are.
Yep. I can do that.
So that we can kind of know. Thank you for that. The next thing is, I know at some point, GA, we were having community members be able to support us. I remember when we built Marshall, I was some rando mom, but I was like, hey, I'll call on the phone to people I don't know and ask them, do they know what school they're supposed to be going to? Because I felt really strongly that people were not getting that message out. And I know we had like a community thing, and so every time we talk about enrollment, there should be like a QR code where you can enroll now, or something, like going along the bottom of the screen saying enroll right now, click here, or something. People don't know, right? Like when those events are, and if I missed it, and I know my daughter's principal is watching, I did get the email, and I am gonna enroll.
Yeah, and Trustee Hunter, this is all me. The team actually did add the enrollment slides, so I want to give them credit. There were 2 slides. I asked them to take it out because with time, like
I got you. I know, and I'm
15
gonna
minutes
hurry up
to
right
do
now.
presentations.
Yeah.
So I apologize. I will make sure,
Vindicated.
as long as, I'll just put them at the end. Yeah, I
Thank
will
you.
just have to eat
And
the
make sure that
time.
our people can have. I appreciate that.
We
Thank
can
you.
unhide those slides.
Thank you. And my daughter goes to a year-round school, so we have to enroll twice. So I'm late twice. And then so the phone banking, I'm sure we don't have anybody calling. I was anybody, but we can do that. And then enrollment events, if there's a place where people can come, because I know that even when I'm enrolling my kid and parents are like, I was like, look, just go here in the portal, and I'm like, people can support, we can help each other. This is a big lift, and I keep saying we cannot do this by ourselves, and if people are raising their hand, then please, let's take advantage of, we have some really sharp people in our district, let's use them. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Singh.
Thank you so much. All right, so I got some budget questions. I told Ms. Montgomery today that she knows my love language. She speaks my love language because she called me before the meeting and knew exactly what was on my mind. So thank you for that. But I did want to ask, okay, slide 17. My understanding is the budget we approved last June for the 25-26 school year was actually 15.2% fund balance. So it says 15% here, but I just want to make sure that we're aware. It's 15.2?
15.1. It was 15.1.
Was it?
Uh-huh.
Okay, because I just pulled up the budget that we approved last year. I thought it said 15.2, but okay, either way, it says 15.1 here. Hold on, let me just pull up this budget.
Trouble in paradise with the love
I
language.
know. No, the love language is still there. The content might be a little, but so the unassigned fund balance that I'm looking at from last June's board meeting says 15.21%.
Oh, there's a 2-1. That's where I got them.
Yeah.
I'll go back and look
Okay, yeah,
at that.
double check that, and,
Yes.
you know, but I just want to make sure that we're clear that, like, my expectation is that we end this year with the same fund balance that we approved in the last budget. So that's what, you know, that's what I just want to make sure we understand what that number is going to be, and we correct it if it needs correcting. And then, thank you so much for laying out slide 19 and 20. This is really important, but basically the bottom line here is that we are we are off by $30 million as of right now, from what I see. That's the 49 million. Adjusted net change is kind of the current calculation that we have. When we approved the budget at the end of last year, it was a $19 million deficit. Right now, it says it's a $49 million deficit, and we're off by our adopted budget by 0.1%. Actually, you have it correct here. You have 15.2 on the first column on page 19 from the adopted budget. So it was 15.2. So it's really going to be a little bit more than $30 million if you account for that additional 1.1% in fund balance. Correct.
Right. I think what I need to go back and look at, Trustee Singh, is the 15.2, is that a round? So did the number land at 15.18, and then we use 15.2 for rounding? So if it does end up coming in at 15.2, you're correct, that number will swing, but it'll be minimal.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
So what I would ask Superintendent is for our next meeting, or the next time we look at this, is just like have a clear declarative sentence that just says we are off by this amount, so that anybody can just understand that. But my understanding is we're off by a little over $30 million right now, from what we approved last June. So that's one thing I want to make super clear, and that's correct, right?
I wouldn't, let's clarify the term. Our deficit increased, not off. So it increased from $19 million to $49 million because of the changes in revenue, recapture, and operating expenditures.
Yes, so that's more accurate, yes.
But most notably, right, the not capturing the real estate. I mean, that just to be clear, that's the single thing that changed.
Yes.
That moved the number bigger than anything else.
Yes, and in case anybody
in a
thinks
different
that we're
fiscal
being
year.
irresponsible, I just want to make it really clear, we're not, because we actually have cut. If you look at that $70 million on slide 19, we actually have cut a lot more. We were only planning on cutting 47 million. And so you guys have done your work, so thank you for that. And you've gone way above and beyond and made even more cuts. So thank you for that fiscal responsibility. But on slide 20, thank you for also laying out what you're projecting to cut in addition to make up for that $30 million deficit, excess deficit. And so it looks like you're planning on definitely being able to make up about half of it, which is awesome. And Superintendent, do you think we're going to be able to make up the entire $30 million
Well,
by the
which
end
will be
of
the net
fiscal
16.
year?
So, good. So, yeah, so the way that we think about it is based on our current projections, right, conservatively, right now there's $16 million that we have to pick up between now and the remainder of the year.
Yeah.
Right, that's in addition to what we know we can easily pick up. I don't know if that's a way to describe it. And just for everybody's awareness, one of the reasons this occurs is because we are spending less every month than we were budgeted for. So our actuals are less than what was budgeted. So the difference between those two numbers, cumulative over the course of the year, ends up contributing at the end of the year, right, bottom line. Which is why at the end of last year, you had a fund balance that was projected and coming in, I think, it ended up coming over $100 million.
110, and we came in at 74 million.
But just the fund balance at the end, we contributed because we picked up savings at the end of the year when the system slows down. And so we know that happens every year. We have always budgeted and not kind of taking credit for that.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that was stressful for us at the end of last year was, we had a $110 million budget deficit, then it was 95, then it was 89. And what Katrina and I knew, was that the system slows down and you start picking up savings at the end of the year.
Yeah.
And that's why the ending fund balance, if you go to that slide, if you go back one slide, I'm sorry, I'm making a long answer. So see how the beginning fund balance is different? So 168 versus 232. So that is, think about that. We thought we were going to start the year with a $168 million fund balance. We actually started with $232 million, right? So that is a function of us spending less, and at the end of the year, as the audit finalizes, moving that into the fund balance. And so now your starting point is higher than what you thought. And so we know that, our system, we're very aware of how our system works, and so we're trying to kind of capture that earlier so we don't create the stress in the system. Know that we still have to cut. I mean, these are big numbers, but we still have to cut. But also acknowledge that there are still other opportunities between now and the end of the year. And so we have to make up essentially the 16 million. That's like the gap.
Yeah.
So 16 million between, March, April, May, and June, with some of the strategies that were identified, we think are doable. And then also what you're going to see is every month, as that month closes, there's more clarity around what was captured.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
And so we're trying to be better about how we show interim data, because it does move every month. But that's what's happening here.
Okay,
And-
so is this all to say that you expect us, I know we don't have all the numbers yet, but you do expect us to be able to close that 30 million?
We are, that's our goal. That's what I expect.
Okay, cool, and stay within the 15.2%.
But if you close it, then you're going to be above it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you. And then I also just wanted to mention a couple of other things, and this is reiterating some of the things we talked about in our work session 2 nights ago. But as you continue working on the budget that we're going to approve in June, I really want us, I think I'm still not convinced on the enrollment projections. I feel like we need to be super pragmatic on the enrollment projections, or maybe, as I think Trustee Deodios, they suggested, have scenarios or, some kind of range so we can get a better idea. And Trustee Foster also brought up property values, and maybe we need to consider being a little bit more conservative on that as well. So, thank you.
Yeah, we heard you loud and clear. We're debriefing based on what we heard at the work session, and so we'll provide some guidance. I'm definitely understanding the enrollment side. Property projections, that one I think I have more thoughts around, but I'll share those at a future date.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Hi, anyone else right now?
I just want to express a note of appreciation that this is being lifted back up. A community member attended the budget workshop, which was pretty cool. But his walkaway and takeaway was, I knew it was bad. I knew it was bad. You've always told me it was bad. I didn't know it was this bad. And I don't think that our community, even as we talk about it, really gets a full appreciation of what we're talking about. Like right now, we're talking about how 25-26 isn't turning out like we thought it would, and how can we save more and more and more this year in this moment. And lifting up, when you say actual versus budgeted, and what you're indicating is that every month we're having to work hard in a way that has people not getting as much of what they need right now. And we haven't even begun the conversation about the budget for next year, and we're going to have to approve that. So if we almost have a responsibility to keep lifting up what we're looking at here and how dire this situation is, so that folks aren't surprised when we go to budgeting and we make really, really tough decisions.
Thank you. Any additional questions, comments? Okay, the only thing that I want to really share appreciation. I share some concerns about our student enrollment projections, even after seeing the methodology on Tuesday, and just hope that we can continue that conversation. And then really feel like we owe our community, as soon as possible, some detail about what's going to be cut. We know we have to to make cuts, we know that's going to change the experience. We talked on Tuesday about how there's very little left to cut without getting closer and closer to that campus and that student experience. We need to start talking about that as soon as we possibly can. I know on Tuesday a commitment was made to talk about that at our first meeting in April. And
No later than.
no later than our first meeting in April. Well, I mean, that's our next meeting, so.
We still may have a we
may have a work
that's what I
session in
wanted.
between. Perfect. So I think the sooner the better with that. I think it's just we owe that to our community and owe time to have the most thoughtful discussion we can with input from our trustees, our community, and our staff together. Thank you. All right. We will move on. Thank you all very much. Appreciate it. The next item is an update from Mendez and Third Future for the 1882 agreement. As part of that agreement, we've asked our partner to provide quarterly updates. Principal Miranda and Mr. Craddock have provided a recorded presentation included in the agenda item tonight and shared a presentation with backup data. And I'd like to hand it to Superintendent Segura. Thank you.
Yes, I'd like to welcome up Principal
Miranda.
Elizabeth Miranda to answer any questions regarding the Sorry. I'd like to welcome up Principal Miranda to provide the space to answer any questions our trustees may have regarding the presentation that was uploaded to board docs and has since been viewed.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you for the presentation. Trustees, any questions about this?
I've met you, Principal Miranda. We've had some conversations, and I just want to thank you for what you've done since you've come in, and thank you for your service. Appreciate it.
I really appreciate that. It's been great serving the Dove Springs community, and really, building into the relationships and that, we develop with the kids and our families. Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? All right. Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you all.
And good luck with the rest of the year. Yeah. Thank you. All right. Next up is the Community Bond Oversight Committee Annual Report. And can you please introduce the next item? And for people who don't know, the Community Bond Oversight Committee is a committee of appointed members appointed by the trustees who monitor very closely the spending of our bond funds, and it's a very hardworking committee. So appreciate the chance to learn more.
Yes, thank you, President Boswell. The CBOC annual report was pre-recorded and made available to the trustees in advance. The following team members are able to answer any questions that the board may have. We have Ms. Katrina Montgomery, our Chief Financial Officer, Christine Steenport, our Operations Officer, and Michael Mann, our Executive Director for Construction Management. And as for awareness purposes, the video and the data in the video is from some time ago. I want to be really clear because of all the time management considerations. We weren't able to bring it forward in a traditional manner. And so there will be a bridge document to this that kind of shows all the things that have occurred in the bond since the CBOC report was initially completed. And we're also going to be following up in April with a deep dive on bond finances, which is going to be a kind of a separate conversation. And really just kind of be into bond funding, kind of where we are with debt and kind of project funding allocations, et cetera. So with that, I'm happy to have the team and I answer any questions that you all may have.
All right, thank you. Any questions from anyone about this? Trustee Singh?
Oh, no, you go. Because I need to collect my thoughts.
Okay, sure.
Trustee Willie Chu.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank you for hosting the meeting at Hill. I learned so much. I was really glad to be there and wanted to just see if you had any updates to share with the board about Hill since that meeting, since that was one of the projects that changed a lot in scope.
There isn't any update beyond what we shared at the meeting. We are in design right now. We're in schematic design, one of the early design phases for Hill Elementary. And we are also working on that secure entry vestibule to be delivered as soon as possible, potentially this summer. But there isn't any additional information that wasn't shared.
And have y'all decided where the vestibule is going to be since that meeting, or is that still in flux?
There were the two locations that were shown at the meeting, and I have not heard of a definitive answer, but I do believe it will be the one that's farther planned north anyway. But I think we're very close to that. I don't see any complications with that.
Okay. And can you remind the board when construction is scheduled to begin on Hill?
That will depend a little bit on permitting, but we are looking at not August of 26 school year, but August of 27.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Well,
Thank you, Trustee Singh.
I'm happy to go later if others have questions. I'm still collecting my thoughts.
Trustee Quintana.
Thank you for this. I just wanted to ask, because this feels like the appropriate place, because our community has been asking about this a lot, about where the allocated bond dollars are going to go for campuses that are slated to close, that, well, I guess that's the question. What's going to happen to those bond
Yeah,
dollars?
so I'll answer that, and that's going to be something we actually talk about in the finance meeting that we're going to have regarding bond dollars specifically. I want to cover it there very clearly, but generally speaking, the process that we have anytime a project is de-scoped, and this happens not necessarily closures, but sometimes projects just don't come to fruition, or perhaps there's a land acquisition and a bond that doesn't, materialize. So the process is the bond program progresses far enough along to where there's certainty that all the remaining projects can be completed. Those dollars then are identified as surplus, go to the Community Bond Oversight Committee for a recommendation, and then they come to the board. The board will always have final decision. What's going to make this different, and I think what we're going to talk about here in a couple weeks, is if there's a need or desire to identify kind of where those dollars would be most appropriate given where the closure took place. One of the things that we've talked about in the past is, where possible, having the dollars follow the students. In some cases, the receiving school may be modernized already, so they may not require capital investment. So perhaps the solution might be, well, could you look in the feeder pattern? Is there a middle school that could use the dollars, and then as the students progress through the feeder pattern, they'll actually take the benefit of the investment. And again, so there's some nuance to that. That's specifically what we want to cover at the board meeting in March, because we have the process that's already in play and has been approved, and we've done multiple times for multiple years. This is going to be a little bit different, and I want to hear from the board, kind of based on where we are, kind of what the expectation is. But you all will have the ultimate authority, just to be clear.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Singh.
Okay, I think I'm ready. I did have some questions I submitted, Superintendent, on March 3rd, and I believe the staff is scurrying, getting those uploaded to board docs, so I really appreciate that. But I had one question that I did want to pull out, because I remember this being a big issue when we passed the bond, which was regarding cameras in SPED classrooms. And so on page 18 of the report, I was curious to know, when I saw this, I was curious to know about where we were with that, and get a better understanding of like how many parents have requested classrooms. I know that was in my Q&A, so I don't know if you have it, but where are we on that? Are parents who are requesting this actually getting them? What is the process, and what can the board do to make sure that happens?
So this is not the team to talk about the requests. That would be Dr. Cherry Lee. So I'll she would be the person that would collect them, and then construction management would then implement. And just to be clear, prior to the bond investment, that was the case. Anytime there was a request, we would make the investment and add the cameras. When we created the bond program, I remember I was in the room and we kind of combined different sources. There was an allocation for cameras so that anytime a request came by, we had the dollars preserved, and that does exist. I can't speak to how many requests have come in. I know this team is not the team to speak to it, and I'm not sure we're prepared to answer that question. Unless Dr. Cherry Lee, you're good, because I don't want to put anybody in the spot. It's not something I was anticipating having an answer.
Yeah, and I didn't ask that, to be fair, I didn't ask that very specific question. I just kind of asked for a general update, so.
Okay, I will be responsive to their question via board notification or upload to the board docs. I don't want to misspeak, because there's different people that are not necessarily here that are going to have that information.
Understood. That's helpful, but I would really like a response to this sent to trustees, and also if that's something that you could put publicly somewhere on the bond page, because there was so much conversation, so much advocacy by our SPED community around this particular issue, and I just, So I will just say specifically what I'm interested in knowing is how many families have requested cameras, how many of those have been granted, and for the ones that were not granted, what the reason was for that. I would also like financial data attached to it. I think it was like a little over $1 million that were allocated in the bond for SPED cameras. I could be wrong on that.
We collapsed different line items into one, I think, $5 million line item. So it's not.
All right, that's cool, but just some accounting of how much of that, how much money from that bucket has been used for SPED cameras would be super helpful.
We can provide that.
I can do that. Let me work with the team, yeah.
Okay,
That's
thank
easy.
you. And Trustee Day.
Yeah, so to interrupt, but just to clarify, from my understanding of the concerns that I've received from the community, I wanted to just specify within your comment, because one thing is the cost of the actual camera, and my understanding of a lot of the concern is the wiring to be able to install cameras, that there's an infrastructure that could be laid out in the buildings. And so, again, I wasn't there for the initial bond structure, but the idea that the infrastructure would be there so that cameras can be installed quickly. So I know there's the one cost of the camera, and I don't know if this would be a question for development, but the idea being that as opposed to whether the cameras are approved or denied, just how rapidly they can actually be installed. Like, speaking very just pragmatically, if it was a wireless camera, sure, then you don't need any type of infrastructure behind it. It's going to be Wi-Fi or something. But my understanding is these are wired into the walls, and so there's, that would make sense during the construction of a building or an update.
Trustee Udayasti, I would like to add that we have been in compliant with every single, and I would have to get with the SPED team because we work very closely with them. But I need to double check on the days. I think it's 10 days from the original request to put the camera in, the wiring, the install, that, and get it operating.
I appreciate that part, and that's why I'm kind of slightly redirecting the question. My concern is that it seems much more efficient to install the wiring ahead of time than to do it bespoke every time someone makes a request.
So I don't know that I agree with that. And so one of the things that I want to say is, the way that our campuses are designed, we certainly have studios, which are classrooms, that are identified in our education specifications as serving students who receive special education services, right? So if you have a large elementary school and you're going to have 40 classrooms, it would be, in actuality, any one of those classrooms could technically be a classroom that if a student is there, or if the principal reconfigures, or if Dr. Cherry Lee determines that is a different use or need of the classroom, then that may change. So really, the way that it works is over the course of 50 years, any one of them can be. So if I have 40 classrooms, the cabling, the conduit being laid down ends up becoming more costly over time than just being responsive one by one. There are some instances where that's not the case, like if you're doing like a solar project, or you kind of pre-fit the facility to receive solar. But this is one where I don't want to just assume that it's less expensive to lay down cable and pre-wire everything, because that is a cost, given the number of rooms that could potentially serve a student who's receiving special education services and need a camera. Does that make sense? So I need to just kind of confirm. You want to come up here, Chair Lee? Do you feel comfortable? It's just, I just don't want to assume that's because I've seen it not work that way.
Sure, and I think that gets into the minutia of the communication with the constituents or with the families, because there's two different things, right? At the end of the day, if the camera is getting installed within the timeline, as I'm not super concerned about whether the wiring was there or not. I'm concerned about just the cameras installed. But then separate and parallel to that is what is the most cost-effective way to approach this. And so, as far as governance versus administration, if you're confidently demonstrating to us that this is a more efficient way to do it, as long as it's getting in the 10 days, then sure. I think the question to the public is, a mixture there. There was a concern if the cameras aren't getting installed enough, then at least getting the wiring, and they're presuming that would be faster. If that's not actually affecting it, I think what would be helpful is to demonstrate that the cameras are getting installed within the 10 days for by at large. That would, in my opinion, I think calm me down about whether the constituents' needs are being met. And then it just becomes this cost-effective element to it, which is a little bit more cut and dry. The problem is when we're getting families saying, I requested a camera and I didn't get it. And it's tough to see that across the entire system. And so, again, my understanding was that's why that recommendation came from the CBOC. They felt like that was going to help get the cameras in faster, and then the money was allotted. And the last thing I'll say, because I just want to belabor the point, if you're telling me you're saving that money so that you have it to install a camera when you need it, then, if we can fund the cameras and they're going in fast enough and there's not a lag or a deficit in the overall, then I don't see a problem. But I don't think the community is seeing that happening.
Yeah, and what I'm saying is that $5 million will not cover cabling across all classrooms. Sure. And so you have to do it one by one. It's not going to cover it. And so we're in the weeds a little bit. But Dr. Cherry Lee, do you want to just quickly talk about 10 days or whatever?
The metrics, I can also provide the metrics. So this year so far, we have had 12 requests for cameras in the classroom. 11 were approved and 1 was denied based on the parameters and the requirements. In 24-25, we had 14 that were requested and 14 were approved and installed. In 23-24, we had 15 that were requested and all 15 were approved. Just to give you an idea of how many are being approved. And that's individual classrooms.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the nuance, right? There were 2 different concerns that kind of overlap, and I think that was confusing people.
Great, okay. Thank you all. Appreciate that.
you.
Anything else?
I just want to say, before we move off this topic, I just want to give a huge shout out to the CBOC committee, especially to the chairs, Barbara Spears-Corbett and Mark Grayson. Thank you all. This is not a sexy committee, but it is a very critical one. So, and thanks to the staff as well.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much. Oh, Trustee Hunter has one more.
Again, once when I was a rando parent and my kid went to a school, we have what are called bond books. They're online and you can see where everything is spent. Matthias might not remember this, but I went through everyone and I was like, there is like $15,700.23 missing or something like that. And he was like, yeah, but that cost comes, like if you break a pipe, then that's where it's going, right? And so if people really want to follow it dollar for dollar, it's there for you to follow it, as I've done it. Dollar for dollar, you can see where it's going, and that's up like that. So there is transparency there. There's not like, there's money being moved around, not to my knowledge now. I'm just telling you what I know. It's not like money being moved around. It's like, oh, let's not build that, and we'll take that $20,000 and go build a park somewhere. That's not happening. You can follow it. I've done it dollar for dollar. So just so you know, it's called the bond book. You can put it in the Google, and it says bond book, Austin ISD. You put the school, and you can see dollar for dollar what's happening. And they're there for like, you can go back years if you want to. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you all for the presentation, the information. Thank you to our CBOC. And thank you for the request, Trustee Singh, to add the questions. We know staff that we asked the questions a long time ago because this was on and then off. But thank you for adding them. They aren't there yet, but I know they're coming to board docs, the questions that trustees asked ahead of the meeting. Thank you. And we skipped over something on accident. We are going back to 5.2, our Notice of Intruder Detection Audit. And Superintendent Segura, if you could please introduce that for us.
Yes, I'd like to invite Joshua John, Executive Director of Governance, Accountability, and Board Service, to share the update regarding intruder detection.
Good evening, trustees. In the months of February and March 2026, there were 23 schools audited by TEA. 6 schools had 1 or more findings requiring corrective action. As a reminder, TEA is required to audit 75% of Austin ISD schools during the 25-26 school year. Currently, 57.3% of Austin ISD campuses have been audited this school year. In each of the past 2 school years, TEA has audited 100% of Austin ISD schools for intruder detection audits. If there are any questions, we can answer them during closed session due to the sensitive nature of safety and security. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Okay, now we are going back to item number 7. We're going to move to our consent agenda. Is there any consent agenda that anyone would like to pull for a separate vote? All right, thank you. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I make a motion to approve consent agenda items 8.1 through 8.4, 9.1 and 9.2, 10.1, 11.1 through 11.3.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Trustees, any discussion on these items?
So may I ask a question on an item even if it wasn't pulled?
Yes, we may.
Okay, so on item 8.3, I just wanted to ask for the superintendent to explain why he has confidence that this partnership will result in success for the 3 middle schools.
Yeah, thank you for that question, Trustee Kaufman. I think there's several reasons. First and foremost, we went through a process as we communicated to the board and to the community that we were going to identify a partner that had experience and had demonstrated turning around campuses. And when we talk about moving a campus, we're talking about going from an F to a D to a C or a D to a B. And we also talked about making sure that the partner understood the expectations that we had as an organization, but also built on the success that we're seeing occurring at these 3 schools. And so as we prepared the process to identify the partner, we were fortunate in finding a partner that kind of met those expectations. I think along the way, we also knew that additional support and through a technical advisor may be appropriate, just to ensure that the urgency around turning the campuses is met with kind of practices that have demonstrated showing kind of those outcomes that we expect. We visited the schools, both in San Antonio and in the Valley. And so after visiting the schools, after spending time with the partners and understanding the structure, having conversations with staff at these schools, meeting with principals, I am confident that this partner, this configuration will help us be successful. And I also want to note that the 1882 partner is going to allow us to, kind of leverage resources that are not currently available to us and kind of focus on, all the needs as well as these 3 in the district. So I think for those reasons, we're bringing this forward as a recommendation as far as a partner goes.
And are there checks on this, I guess, from TEA? Like if TEA felt that this was not a partner that we could be, they're invested in our success as well. If they felt that this is not a partner that we would be successful with, would they decline our application and put us on a different path towards success? Like, are there checks and balances on this outside of our district?
Yeah, so one of the things that's, I think, been helpful through the process, and I think some of this was just built through the relationship from special education order, is just we asked lots of questions. I mean, Josh and Katrina and I have asked countless questions about, what configuration, what the expectations would be, how to make it work in a way that ensures success. And so we've gotten feedback along the way, and that feedback has certainly adjusted our approach. And based on that feedback, given kind of where we are, we're going to recommend this gets submitted. The way the agency evaluates these is there's going to be many of these all across the state that all get submitted, on March 31st. The agency will begin to review them. And like anything else, we expect it to be initially a conversation, just like our TAPs, where they provide feedback, like, hey, I really want to see this improved, or I want more detail around this. And that could go on for months. I mean, it really could go on for months. When you look at the timeline, I mean, we could see ourselves in May or June before we actually get a final approval. But, I think what you'll find with our team is we're not shy about asking questions, making adjustments where appropriate. But you're in fact right. If the agency does not accept after all of that, we would appreciate the opportunity to make the adjustment, which is what we've seen them do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else?
Yes.
Steve Leach.
Yeah, so I've looked at this a lot, and I want to say really thank the administration for, instead of rushing a process, taking the time to find the right partner for Dobie and Burnett and Webb, they deserve to have the very best. And we've, the administration has done everything to get really, we had good teachers starting out there. We have even more we have additional dedicated teachers who have come to these schools. We have the right teachers in place. And so getting with a partner who would throw away all the good things we have is not what we want to do. And so the Texas Council for International Studies is going to bring in an extra layer of support to the good stuff that they're already doing, and because those schools are moving in the right direction. So I'm really, really grateful that that is not being dismantled. Those schools have gone through so much upheaval. And when you say extra resources, that means we have more money to spend on what the students need. Because not just this new resource, like in that means there's more money being spent on the school. So we've dedicated more funding this year. This will get us additional funding. And this is, TCIS doesn't just work for, they work with schools who are struggling and they have been successful, but they also partner with elite private schools, with other schools that have IB programs. And I guess maybe just District 4, we really, really like IB in District 4. So I'm really, really excited for those middle schoolers to get the opportunity to be a part of a really, really strong program. So I would like to say I feel confident that this will be accepted, because this is a very, very, if the commission wants this to be successful, they will approve this. So I'm glad to be able to vote with this. And I know it's hard to have something at the last minute deadline, but I'd rather have something thoughtful brought to the board that's good for the community than something rushed. So thank you.
Thank you. Additional comments, questions? All right. Having a motion by Secretary Foster, a second by Trustee Singh to approve consent agenda items 8.1 through 8.4, 9.1 and 9.2, 10.1 and 11.1 through 11.3. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. And the motion passes by all those on the dais. Thank you. No items have been pulled from the agenda. So we will now move to abstention items for a separate vote. Secretary Foster, do we have a motion to approve item 12.1?
I so move that we approve item 12.1.
And can you read it, please?
Approval of the 25 to 28 partnership agreement between Austin Community College and Austin Independent School District for dual credit programs, and the partnership agreement between Austin Community College and Austin Independent School District for education programs.
Thank you. Is there a second? Second. Thank you. Any discussion? All right, having a motion by Secretary Foster, a second by Vice President Gonzalez to approve item 12.1. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Any opposed? Any abstaining? Thank you. The motion passes 8 in favor, 0 opposed, and 1 abstention. Trustee Hunter, thank you. We will now move to additional items for a separate vote, 13.1 and 13.2. Before we address that, I'd like to ask if any trustees wish to convene an executive session prior to voting on the terminations. So we will come and vote on those afterward. We will now recess our open meeting at 7:33 p.m. and move to executive session pursuant to Texas Government Code sections 551.074, 551.072, 551.073, 551.087, 551.076, 551.0821, and 551.071. Thank you. All right, we will now reconvene the open meeting at 10:02 p.m. Do I have a motion to approve item 13.1?
So moved. I move to approve item 13.1, proposed termination of professional employee during a probationary contract SE.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, having a motion by Vice President Gonzalez, a second by Trustee Hunter to approve item 13.1. All in favor, please raise your right hand. And the motion passes by all those on the dais. Do we have a motion to approve item 13.2?
Yes, I move to approve item 13.2, termination of a non-Chapter 21 contract employee during the contract term JB.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Having a motion by Vice President Gonzalez, a second by Trustee Hunter to approve item 13.2. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. And the motion passes by all those on the dais. Okay. This will conclude our meeting. Do we have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
And the meeting is adjourned at 10:03 p.m. Thank you.